Hello everyone. Welcome to Middle Grade March and another Middle Grade Monday episode. Okay, so because Middle Grade March is one of my favorite things to participate in, I thought I would share 5 of my favorite middle grades that I've read over, a good chunk of time. The first one is by Lynn Kelly. It's called Song for a Whale. This is about a deaf girl who goes on an adventure with her grandma to find this whale who doesn't have its own pod. It speaks at a different frequency than other whales, and so our main character, she feels sorry for this whale and she tries to find a pod for the whale, and it's just adorable. And this is special to me because my minor in college, and I've been fluent in sign language for many years, but my minor in college was deaf studies. So I spent a lot of time in the deaf community, and I have a lot of friends that are deaf, and I talk with my hands anyway. I don't know if you've noticed that as you watched my videos, but making it into a language was one of my favorite things. And so seeing it in written form, I was intrigued. And I think Lynn Kelly did a really good job. So this is definitely one of my favorites. I recommend it to all of the kiddos that I work with. Next is from one of my all-time favorite authors, Pam Munoz Ryan, and this is Solimar, the Sword of the Monarchs. It's so cute, you guys. It is tiny. It is a, one sitting read for probably adults. Kiddos, you could chunk it into smaller pieces for them. But we follow Solimar, who is a princess in her kingdom. And she has to go, there's this magical realism element as well. And so she has to go on this journey to save the monarch butterflies. If I'm remembering correctly, there's an evil uncle, some sort of evil ruler who is trying to overcome the kingdom. And so she has to run away and find some way to save her kingdom. I think she has to find her father along the way, something like that. Anyway, it is just adorable. There's cheeky birds and she meets new friends, and I loved this. I did feel like the ending was a little rushed, but other than that, it was absolutely wonderful. Such a fun read. Next on this 5-book list is Moon Over Manifest by Claire Vanderpool. This one a Newbery a few years ago. We follow this girl who feels abandoned because her father left. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it's set during World War I, World War II, somewhere right there. And she wants to figure out why her father abandoned her, seemed to have abandoned her, what his life was like. And so she goes on this adventure. She finds different clues in his hometown. She finds new friends. They just go on this epic adventure. It's absolutely adorable. The last little sentence says, it seems that Manifest, the city or the little town, history is full of long-held secrets. What will happen if they are finally revealed? Boom, boom, boom. It's a good one. The next is one of my favorites, and it is unique in the fact that it has a really good movie too. Sometimes the movies are like, wah, wah, but this movie was really good. So the combination book and movie, definitely check both out. But this is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. And we follow this young boy who has a face defect. Something is wrong with his face. I'm not entirely sure what the correct terminology is, but he has been homeschooled up until a certain point. I think it's 5th grade. 5th grade. Not just a hat rack, my friends. And so in 5th grade, he decides to go to the local public school. And his mom is super nervous, and his dad is super nervous, and the sister is and he's super nervous. And so they go in with a lot of trepidation. But as you follow our main character, Augie? Yeah, Augie. He finds new friends who are actually true friends, and he learns how to stand up for himself. But then you also follow the older sister and sort of her journey and seeing her little brother through her eyes, if that makes sense. I love it. Being an older sister myself, I'm very protective of my younger brother. And so I related a lot to this older sister being like, you mess with my brother, you mess with me type of thing. So this is just a joy. And like I said, the movie is really good too. Okay, and the next one, I don't have a cover for it. It ripped, and so I just took it off. That is by Leslie. I want to make sure I get the author right. Hold on. Yes, Leslie Connor. And this is All Rise for the Honorable Perry T. Cook. So this book I read in college for, I think, one of my children's lit classes. But so it's been, 10 years at least since I've read it. So details are a little fuzzy, a little foggy, but we follow this boy who is actually born in the correction facility. His mother is in there because she was convicted of a crime, and it is low security. And you just sort of learn a little bit about that correction facility system. And when a new government person comes into office, he realizes that there's this young boy living and going to school and everything. No, he's not going to school in the facility. He's living in this correction facility. And so he takes action to get the boy out, but that's the only home he's ever known. His mom is there. All of his friends are there, whether they're other, inmates or workers at that correction facility. Anyway, you follow this boy through, being removed from the only home he's ever known to a new home. Why this I can't remember what sort of government worker he was, but why he's doing what he's doing. The boy meets friends. It was beautiful and very, very appropriate for the age range that it is meant for. I'd probably say 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, definitely, and above, appropriate for the content of the book, if I'm making sense. I absolutely loved it. It was just a joy to read. So we have All Rise for the Honorable Perry T. Cook, Wonder, Moon Over Manifest, Solimar, and Song for a Whale. These are some of my personal favorites. If you have any that you would like to recommend to me, place them below in the comments. These will all be linked in the description box if you are interested in reading them yourself. All my Amazon links are there for you. All are wonderful. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you again in 2 weeks for the next round of Middle Grade Monday recommendations. Bye!